Hey everybody, welcome into Urban Meyer's Pint House. It is Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. It's not quite the weekend. It's a little early, but a holiday week and an Illinois game.
Yeah,
we're just gonna get it rolling early. Got the Illabuck on the line. What could be better than that? A wooden turtle. But we've got a lot more to talk about. There we go, as the rankings are actually coming out tonight. Spoiler alert for people that are viewing this later on.
I can't believe 14 right there.
Yeah, we're going to dive into that as this show goes on.
That's bumpy.
Ohio State boys stayed undefeated on Saturday against Indiana. It was not maybe perfect in the second half. 42-35 was the win, but they're undefeated. They're going to be in position to still win the Big Ten. They took control of the East Division. Let's dive right into it. Let's grade that win. Zach, I know that you and I talked about the defense already for Buckeye Q.
What'd you guys talk about?
Well, the secondary.
The secondary was a big topic of discussion. Schlegs.
Okay, cool. What'd you break down there, Zach? Can you give me a cliff notes of what that was? Because that was probably an hour and a half long show. Ranting.
It was me ranting.
It could have gone a lot longer.
It's a lot of miscommunication on the back end when it's very straightforward. It's a lot of guys trying to make plays and not making plays whatsoever, right? It's playing outside of their means, and we see it a lot at the free safety position with Hooker, trying to do way too much, trying to make plays when there's no need to be doing what he's doing. It's almost like sometimes these guys are running around chickens with their heads cut off when there's no reason to. They need to play sound. They need to play like the front seven where everyone's fundamentally doing what they're supposed to be doing. The linebackers are filling the correct gaps. The defensive linemen are taking on the right gaps, right? Everyone's playing sound. Then you look at the back end, it's like it's a free-for-all back there, and that's not what Ohio State defense is. That's not what the Silver Bullets are doing. So we broke down a couple play Schlegs where it shows just complete miscommunication, guys playing way outside of their means, and it makes no sense. So going back to grading it, right? It's a top 10 matchup, so you can't have a C. I'm gonna go B-, right? It's a B- performance. Granted, there's a lot of things, a lot of tape for guys to learn from. Yeah. And Justin Fields obviously had a lot of learning. I'm sure Ryan Day and him spent a lot of time Sunday going over hot routes, going over different checks that some defenses, if you're Illinois, if you're Michigan State, and if you're Michigan, you're going to be running some of those delayed blitzes that Indiana was bringing. You're going to be bringing some of those safety pressures. You're going to be bringing some of those linebacker blitzes they were bringing. And so they are going to obviously game plan moving forward, thinking that they're going to get some of those same looks. And then on the back end, I actually think it's a great thing because in my mind, it finally was enough for the coaching staff to sit back and say, maybe we need to make some changes. I don't think there was as much up to this point for the coaching staff to say, maybe we do need to make some changes at the back end. Maybe we need to try change some personnel in there. Saturday was finally that day where they're like, hey, some guys aren't stepping up. We need to make some changes.
Bob, if anything, Ohio State showed on Saturday that it's still got room to grow.
They still have room to grow. They showed out in the first half, and then in the second half, they showed they need to grow a little bit, which is – it's great when you can win and still have teachable moments. Defensively, could echo a lot of what Zach said. There's guys like, and it's poor eye control. Guys trying to do too much. They're trying to make plays, and so they get lazy with their eyes. And when you do that, you're going to break down some of the fundamentals of what you're trying to do. And then with Sean Wade, and I say this because I love Sean, and he's really good. He was a super highly recruited kid. He's a tough kid. He plays really hard. I don't feel like he's been as aggressive as he was last year, and I'm not sure what that is. If it's the uncertainty of moving to the outside, he had a great play. Pick six. Anytime you get one of those, man, you're gonna put that in your pocket as a defensive guy. Very, very difficult to do. But overall, like I look at the game, it's not to the standard of what he needs to do and what he should be able to do. And then offensively, could Justin have played better? Absolutely. Hopefully, you see these things in their teachable moments and they don't become patterns. But I will say this, he was doing his best Steve Seagal impersonation at points because he was under siege, Cardale. Under siege. Like, there's times where they're bringing four-man rush, running line stunts up front, and there are guys coming free. And this is an offensive line that you hold in very high esteem. And you watch Wyatt Davis, they blow a pass off there, and it's like you have an unblocked guy with four rushers. I don't care who you are playing quarterback. There is no play call that's designed for that. People are like, you've got to get the ball out. Get the ball. They're dropping seven guys. There's no quick answers. Like, quick answers come during the blitz.
Right.
And so when you can get pressure with four, which they did a little bit, that's rough. Then they obviously brought a ton of different guys, but their stunt game up front with the D-line was fantastic. They brought guys from both the second and third level. You saw everything you were going to see. You had a big lead. You let them slide back into that thing, and you were able to hold them off. Like, that's good. It's good. We'll see. The problem is, I don't know if you're going to really find definitive answers of if you improved on these things until you probably have to play Northwestern. Like, that's the biggest issue with this, is you're not going to find out against Illinois, Michigan State. You should be able to find out against Michigan, but I don't think you will this year. Yeah. And so those are the issues that you have, because you're not going to be able to find out if they're truly rectified or if you're just out-talenting them the next couple weeks.
For sure. And one thing I'm going to say, I'm going to go with Bob on this. I'm going to get a team overall as a C. Okay. Not because of how they didn't have a complete game, in my opinion, but the ball security, in my opinion, was a little poor. I mean, not just the turnovers, but you see Wilson do this thing, Garrett, when he catches the ball. He want to always keep it out there and kind of show you, I'm a big boy this, I'm a big boy that. But it finally came up and bit him in the butt in the critical third down. When he caught it on the sideline, that defender came and hit him right in the back, and the ball came out. It's like little things like that. Or when Justin's running around, he got the ball with one hand. I was just thinking about Stan Drayton, Tom Herman, Obermeyer. These guys would have hated these coaches, because any little loose ball security type of thing that they was doing, let alone turnovers, they'd have been rolling down the field with 2 balls or doing suicides for 100 yards just on little things like that, ball security. So that really kind of blew me when it came to the Buckeyes this week, because they had some pressure. He had to skip the pocket a lot more than usual, and the ball was just careless. I mean, he didn't lose one to a fumble, but you got to think that's going to come up and bite him in the butt.
All right, Schlegs, you've been scribbling down notes.
I have been, because
notes.
This is a great breakdown, because you have guys that obviously have played, understand, watched a lot of ball, coached some ball. All right, so one thing, Bobby mentioned this, Shaun Wade not being as aggressive as he normally is, and some of that becomes he's hesitant. And it's either fear or failure, right? Like, guys have had to jump. Oh, go ahead, Cardale.
Yeah, but to speak on Wade, and not to clearly none of us are his coaches, but you have experience coaching. My personal opinion, he's not an outside corner. Everybody's rave about what he did last year on the inside, because you got help. If you get beat inside, you got help from the inside. You get beat outside, you got help on the outside. Outside corner, you by yourself. Everything is on you. And you see teams, when Ohio State had them dominant outside corners, usually 2 at a time, teams were planning to go away from them guys. Teams are attacking Wade out there.
Yeah.
They attack him.
And let me add, before you go,
okay. I think we've seen this 3 weeks in a row. Like, if I'm covering Schlegs and I'm Shaun Wade, where he's just fallen away. Like, it was a meme at Penn State, but he's done that in all 3 games, and
it's different out there on that island by yourself.
Schlegs touched on this a little bit, and Cardale did as well. When you are Shaun Wade, yes, he's in a new position. He's more on an island. But when you don't have confidence in the guy that's roaming free safety, and especially now that we've seen at Ohio State, you were playing a lot of cover 1 coverage, and he is out there on an island. When you feel like you don't have any help, because we saw Hooker take some bad angles against Penn State. We've seen Hooker take some bad angles against Rutgers. You saw it again against Indiana. When you feel like you're even more on an island than what you truly are, you start playing timid and you start saying, "Oh man, I have to be perfect."
But,
I'm trying to, not have the big play, not get burnt. It's almost like he doesn't trust the guys around him. He doesn't trust Williamson in the corner or in the slot sitting right next to him. He doesn't trust Hooker playing over top of him, knowing that, hey, I can be aggressive because I got a guy behind me that is a ball hawk that can play center field. When you feel like you're on more of an island than what you are, and this year he's way more of an island than he was in the slot, it is hard for him to have it's all about confidence. Guys, let's be honest, right? There's so many 5-star guys that come to Ohio State that never form in anything, and it's not talent. It comes down to confidence. When you get into an Ohio State locker room with 85 guys who are the best high school football players from across the country, there's one thing that divides them from being a starter, from being a rotational guy or a guy that never plays, and it's confidence level, right? It's when you go out there, it's do you trust who you are as a player, and do you trust what you can bring on the field? And right now, Shaun Wade's playing like he has no trust in anyone out there, nor himself.
But go ahead, Cardale.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay. No, I like you guys just keep taking over, because I had a buddy of mine said let everybody else talk. So
I'm gonna go against a little bit what you said about the confidence about there being on the island and knowing you don't have help. You speak to Marshawn Lattimore, you speak to Denzel Ward, you speak to Gary Conley, you speak to Bradley Roby. Those guys want to be on the island. No, I don't need no help. I'm good. I got this. Yeah. I don't want to. My job, my livelihood is not going to be on the guy in the back end for me. Let me handle this.
So, again, I think the hesitation part, there's a couple of things there. You also got a new defensive coordinator, right? Like, again, there is no spring ball. There is no early games. It's hard to evaluate who you got, where they want to put him. You look at Garrett Wilson, right? They put Garrett Wilson in the slot. Why? Because it's going to add a significant amount of value, and he's going to be able to learn the offense better because he can go outside anytime he wants to, right? It's only helped Chris Olave. When I look at when I look at Sean Wade, I look at the secondary in general. It goes back to what Bill Belichick said, and what we do at Ohio State defense is just do your job and do your job well. Like, that's it. I don't need you chasing this guy. When they ran the 4th and 10 crosser for a touchdown, boom, I don't know who it was that came up. It might have been Hooker. He came up to our right side, or it had been at Indiana's right side, but the free guy running across that he should have helped was a linebacker, knowing that I got a linebacker on a running back on the outside. They're going to go through the wash. It was almost a double pick. Like, that's where I got to know who I also have to help.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that's doing your job, and I guarantee you they coach it up. And the good thing is this. You have elite coaches that understand we do have some talent, but we got to put them in the right position to succeed. Also, we've lost guys. Losing Cameron Brown, losing the other 2 dudes because they played a lot of ball here, and they're no longer here because of choices that they made. That's automatically decreased the depth. That's the reality of the situation.
Yeah, three guys that are in the NFL. Jordan Fuller's intercepting Tom Brady twice last night.
Yeah, and then, but you also got to take into consideration the good, right? Defensively, Barron Browning, the linebackers, I thought played excellent.
Barron
right?
played really well.
Barron played. I mean,
Well, Schlegs, if you want to name these guys.
No, I'm not going. No, I'm saying like we're grading them, right? I kind of grade them a B-. You got a top 10 win. 2, you rushed for 303 yards. You threw for 300 yards. You had a running back and a wide receiver go for 150 and a quarterback for 300. It's never been done in Ohio State football history, right? You have a defense that shuts them down to -1 yards rushing. Yeah, they give up to 419. So you take it all, and it's a top 10 win in an empty stadium. Like, this is something that they're going to learn and grow through. The thing is, we got to shore up the back end, and we got to understand how to bring the juice the entire game and play a full the full time now, Bob. No premature.
Hey,
you gotta go.
Saturday's win was
Premature
kind of
juice.
completion.
Yeah.
Saturday's game was kind of like Schleg's ACT score, right? Is advanced in a lot of places and then fails kind of the writing. Fails the writing portion,
right
brings
when I
the
need to
score
go
down.
up, boom.
Right, there were a lot
Down.
of A's. There were a lot of A's, right? But from a grading
First
standpoint,
hour and a half was great, and then you just
no
got
doubt.
really
And then
tired.
there was like
Just-
an F to bring the score
Saturday
down.
morning.
Take a nap.
Okay, the first college football playoff rankings did come out. Ohio State is at number 4.
Ooh, bumpy.
I wrote at Lettermen Row in advance that you could ignore that, and I still think that that's the case. If Ohio State's undefeated, they're obviously going to be in the playoff field. They proved that at least in the first rankings at number 4. Do you guys have any strong feelings about checking in?
I don't even think it should be a topic of discussion. Ohio State's got 4 more games to play, and if they go out and take care of business, and especially in the Big Ten championship game, they continue to build. There's no way they can keep them at 4.
It's not keeping people in or out. It's a matter of who your matchup is. I would much rather play Notre Dame.
Oh, for sure.
Than I would play Alabama or Clemson. I'd probably rather play Clemson than Alabama this year with how Clemson looks and has looked at times. So that to me is a big factor. And so I'm surprised to see that, because they do this and it's like pegging. They put you there and then it forces you have to see shifts. The good news is that Northwestern, I believe, was at 8.
Yeah, they were at 8.
Northwestern was at 8, and Indiana only fell, I think, to 12. And so those are some good things to look like, hey, because they'll keep referencing that. Well, they beat a good Indiana team that's 10th. Or you're playing a Northwestern team that's ultimately 6th or 7th.
Right.
Depending on how everything breaks out and how it shakes out. Good to see Cincinnati sitting there at 6. I think that was important. But
7. They're at 7.
Or 7, I apologize. Yeah, Florida's at 6. But just looking at that, I'm struggling to see how they put Ohio State behind Clemson. I understand that they didn't have their big dog when they lost to Notre Dame, but they also played average the week before against Boston College. I mean,
and the week before that against
no, I'm not
Syracuse.
saying I'm not saying to drop them out of the top 10. I'm just saying you have 3 teams that are undefeated that have some pretty significant wins, and you're going to put Clemson above, or you're going to put Clemson above Ohio State.
Yeah, wouldn't the argument there, Bobby, be that Ohio State has a much better win than Clemson? They just haven't played as many games. I mean,
but I think that's kind of why it's a moot point, because I think Ohio State has 4 more games left, where Clemson, I think, only has got 2 games, right? This weekend and next weekend against a Pitt team who's atrocious, and then against a Virginia Tech team who might be even worse. And so you have an Ohio State team that can go out and still they can take care of business. They can easily move up into 3, and I think Bob is 100% correct. You want to match up with Notre Dame. You want either that 2 or 3 slot.
I just look back at last year, and everyone's like, why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Because it matters.
Because I would have much rather played Oklahoma.
Of course.
No doubt.
And then you have to play LSU, assuming they would have beat Clemson again, because I think you match up better with them. So there were 3 really good teams. I think there's 3 really good teams this year. I don't think Notre Dame is great. as far as the talent. So I'd much rather play them than I would the other.
That's certainly an interesting part of this is putting out those first rankings and having Notre Dame at Clemson in 2 or 3 when they're probably going to play each other again. That almost instantly tells you that it's not going to matter.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. One of them's going to be out. And the other thing, too, is it could be also a shot across the bow that you only got 4 games. Hey, Big Ten, why don't you start with everybody else? Go Bucks, right? I mean, it could have been one of the...
Listen, don't go bringing logic into the conversation.
I don't know. It's crazy talk, man. I don't know.
You leave that logic at the door.
I will next time. But, I mean, we only have 4 games. Good thing is Northwestern's at 8, and they're going to have to play them. And again, if you go look at Clemson and Notre Dame, everybody talks about struggling. We beat a top 10 team by 7, right? We were in control for most part of that game, right? You had Notre Dame that beat Louisville 12-7.
Oh, I watched that game driving to Pittsburgh. It was the ugliest game I've ever seen.
It was atrocious, right? So again, and that's why this all matters, because if you're not going to be the number 1, you want the matchup. So.
And I know this game isn't on our matchup picks here in our other segment, but you have Notre Dame going to North Carolina on Friday.
Petey Pablo, man.
Hey, that could be an upset. Mac Brown there in the Tar Heels, man.
If Mac Brown beats Notre Dame, he personally texted me, I just got it. He will take his shirt off and twist it around his head just like a helicopter.
Petey Pablo.
That's real. I just got that, man.
Boy.
Mac.
There you go. There you go, Mac.
Thanks. It's good to hear from you, Mac.
Yeah. Thanks,
didn't
bro.
even send it to Urban's phone over there hanging out in the booth. Cardale, what do you think do you make anything of the first rankings?
Not really, because still at the end of the day, at this point right now, they are the top 4 teams. But if you want to take in perspective, like Bob said, it's all about matchups and who you want first and try to get that. Not saying easier route to the national championship game, but
see, this guy can say it doesn't matter because he sat there on a Sunday afternoon
and saw him go from 6 to 4.
6 to 4, jump through teams, and ultimately win a national championship. So that's how he's able to utilize.
Yeah, come on, hey, to Cardale, this is nothing, man. He went the last week of the season from 6 to 4.
That's how strong that right arm is. You just go, you can jump in the polls by yourself.
So what happens when you beat somebody? What is it?
59-0.
59.
and it was the number 1 defense in the country at the time.
Schleg's pretending like he doesn't remember the score of the
I don't.
Wisconsin beatdown.
Schleg's probably drinking.
No, I wasn't. I was.
He's on the sideline.
He's on the sideline.
You know what Schlegel was doing? Making sure the special teams personnel were on the
That's
field.
exactly what I was doing. Hoping Coach Meyer didn't melt my face off because somebody ran off. Didn't Coach is melting their. I can't even talk right now because that's what the fear he put in my face.
They didn't punt it all that game.
You guys don't understand,
Put
man.
the fear in your face.
He's still thinking about it. Urban is just 6 feet away, and that's what's doing it to him.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna melt my face off. If Stan Drayton talks to his running back one more time, he doesn't get out there on pump block. Coach, let him go, please, for the love of God. He has to be out there. It's second down, and I'm like, oh my, we got 4 dudes on there? Because they just made up like 35 pump blocks like that week, and I'm not even in the meetings, and I got a sheet. It's like this thick. Oh, I just...
He's scarred. He's scarred.
I am, man.
Have a drink of some cold Coors Light.
Hey, literally, you know what? Hey, straight up that day of that game, because it was at night, and I don't know where our hotel was, but you had to walk or whatever. Anyways, I think I walked like 32 miles that day.
Going back and forth.
Back and forth because, like, you get up, right? You have championship water, and then, like, we do a walkthrough, and you're doing stuff, and then you're, Normatec boots and all that other crap that we were doing, and then I'm walking through the deal, and then I'm warming up dudes, and blown out, man. Blown out. City.
That's the job of the
Maybe it wasn't that. It was like I did like 60,000 steps that day.
The job of the strength coach is to get guys ready to play.
Yeah, it's true.
Head fluff dog.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm a good fluffer.
They were ready. 59-0.
Didn't even.
You're welcome.
All because of Schlegel.
You're welcome.
The dudes were definitely warmed up for that one.
Yep, lathered up.
Who was on Saturday against Indiana? It's the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems, whatever it takes, Players of the Week. Before we get into that, a reminder that Thanksgiving is Thursday. Winter's on the way. Is your furnace ready? Whether it's a quick fix or you need a whole new system, your Central Ohio Bryant Heating and Cooling dealers will do whatever it takes to make sure your HVAC system is up to the task. And if you're worried about the air quality in your home, consider a Bryant air purifier. Hey, Schlegel might attack and dominate, but Bryant's air purifier has capture and kill technology.
That's big time.
Which will help make your home a healthier home. Find
Slays
your local
COVID.
Bryant professional at Bryant.com. Bryant is doing whatever it takes.
What a great title for that. Capture and kill.
Capture and kill. I mean, that's
the air particles.
If you weren't attack and dominate, you'd be capture and kill, wouldn't you?
That sounds fantastic.
All right,
I want a system like that.
We're gonna get it.
That's
if you had a capture and kill guy from Saturday's win over Indiana.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna say the linebackers. So I'm gonna pick 3. I think Barron played his best game. I thought Pete Warner.
I'm just gonna rename the segment.
Pete Warner's a special player. I mean, all the things that they asked him to do, the hit. But it was Boren that caused the fumble, and it's Boren that caused the first fumble too. By the way, that never got reviewed. Oh.
Don't even get.
Don't I digress? Don't I digress?
No.
Anyways, don't you digress me, Zach.
No.
All right.
We're
That
not
being
going.
said,
That's a dark hole.
and I thought Tuff played really good. I mean, he didn't have a ton of tackles, but he did his job stuffing the run. I thought the linebackers played their best. And it's just good for me to watch it because they're really good and they're good dudes, man. And matter of fact, everybody at the Senior Bowl is like, this is the best linebacking core in the country. Yeah. That's right. I just said it. Ohio State linebacker core, 3 seniors. They're the best in the country. Boom. I love it.
I can't believe that gives you three any pride at all.
No, not at all. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Good dudes, grinders.
I'm just going to I'm going to go with the front 7.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going the front 7.
I'm so sorry.
I'm going the front 7. This is why.
Of what side?
Of defense,
okay.
right? Obviously. The front 7 because this is a top 10 matchup of big-time Division I college football. And you give up -1 yard rushing.
Yeah.
Like that isn't one dude. That is all 7 guys up front attacking and dominating every single play. I mean, that's a top 10 matchup. We talked about it. The only way to beat Ohio State is you have to be able to run the football. And early on, that Ohio State defense showed them, hey, you better try and throw it. And obviously we know what happens there, right?
Story, yeah.
But hey, that front
Bucks.
7 in a top 10 matchup -1 yard rushing, I mean, you can't ask for anything better.
Bobby, which 11 guys are you going to name?
Why stop at 11?
Why stop at 11?
Why stop at 11? I'm taking all the starters' fault. No, I'm going to take a guy, and he was really good. He after he rolled his ankle, you could see that was bothering him.
There you go.
We've been tough. We've been tough on the running back position here, just because of the standard and all the players. Well, Cardale, you got to go last. So I stole him from you. I've been hard on him, and just like I got other guys that I think I was hard on Boren before. Like all these guys, like listen, and when you go up and you make plays, and you're watching some of the highlights, him duck through, explode, break tackles, get some critical, tough yards for him. The worst thing that happened was when he rolled his ankle, because you could just see he didn't necessarily have it. It was like J.K. in the Fiesta Bowl. Right. You lose a little bit of that, and it's tough to. But he played tough. He played hard. He was physical. He picked up those yards. It was a really good game. I'm going to take one guy, Master Teague. So you can take him again.
Oh, my God. I guess I'm taking Teague. Next time I'm going first next week.
Okay.
I'm going Teague because last week when we sat here, we said, what guys we need to show up for this game? And I said Teague. And we were texting back and forth, watching the game, especially the first couple of drives, when he was pounding the ball. And he was picking up the blocks and picking up the blitzes that we said was going to be giving Ohio State a problem. One thing I did not like, I think it was probably in the second or third quarter. Oh, my God. But he just had 2 big runs back-to-back, and they brought up
That's
blitz.
not an excuse,
and
Cardale.
he was like this. I was like, chop him. So, and he got flipped, and that guy got
learned his lesson.
I was literally screaming, chop him. And he got to Justin. But things I want to see him improve on next week, not just him, but Ohio State overall. Now I'm jumping into the next segment. But they just got to finish the game better. But I'm definitely going with Teague, and things would have been better off as they finished if he wouldn't have got banged up.
Yeah, I think Teague was so impactful on Saturday. That was the best game of his career. It kind of overshadowed the fact that Trey Sermon was starting to show the things that made him valuable. I think Spencer was telling me that 6 or 7 yards of carry is what he averaged. I don't remember exactly what it was. He's doing a lot of things well, but Teague was rolling. So they left him out there.
I think the big stat was Teague had over 150 yards after contact.
That's huge.
Dude had 9 carries for 108 yards in the first half.
That's big time ball right there.
And another guy we're forgetting about, Garrett Wilson.
Well, you guys are talking about the defense.
You could have easily taken him.
I mean, Garrett Wilson.
But I got pissed off at him for the catch out here, showing the ball off, and he get blew up in the back.
I get that, but man. It's almost like we are starting to take Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson for granted, right? What they do week in and week out, the performances that they put on.
This is the first week I'm not having them as my player.
It's unbelievable.
Don't you do that. Don't you take it for granted, Zach.
We are. We're all taking it for granted.
They're amazing.
Special players.
He has one more game. He ties the record for getting 100 yards in 5 games in a row.
Better give him the football.
He's going to do it this week.
Champaign, Illinois, 11 a.m.
Oh,
boy.
Right.
Coach Rao always said that you want to go, next thing you know, you're selling paint and champagne. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real talk.
He goes, if you don't want to buy in, you'll wake up one morning selling paint in Champaign, Illinois.
Well, I think Cardale said you may wake up in the Champagne room in Champaign, Illinois.
All right,
Champagne showers.
We'll get into to Illinois and the Illini after
Ron Zook.
Take a quick break here. That's Weekend Kickoff from Lettermen Row, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs. and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
Here, let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
All right, welcome back to Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. Jumping into the Silver Bullet pick segment in a second. Before we can get to that, though, it is the Buyer's Auto question for Cardale.
Oh, this is big time.
Oh,
Instead, everybody's going to answer it. And when Zach Boren says that that's a good question, that's the one that's going out.
Oh, is this the question I think it is?
Ooh.
I think
This
it's
was
the
a fun
question.
one.
I think it's the question that you want.
Yeah.
Holiday memories of being on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Because you guys had, I think, sometimes people forget. Somebody asked me this like a couple weeks ago. Like, oh, I'm worried about the guys going home for Thanksgiving and like the end of the season being in trouble with COVID. I'm like, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They play Michigan usually 2 days out. It's the game.
Yep.
Right.
They're practicing on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
They're not flying home.
Kind of disappointing this week. The fact that like normally it's big ramp up,
Yeah.
like you'll get some time off, family time, and then Michigan it gives you something to look forward to on Saturday. Illinois might not be reaching that
It's
same
the
level of
Illinois.
climax.
Well, yeah. Well, Schlegel
not a throbber.
and Bob played in the olden days where the game was before Thanksgiving
Even
week.
better.
It wasn't
Yeah, it
even on
was.
Thanksgiving
Even
week.
better.
I know. So you had all of
you
Thanksgiving week to do what you
they
wanted.
might have two different kind of memories from their time at Ohio State than you two. So
Well,
that'll-
you said
I can't
holiday.
remember
You said holiday.
yesterday.
Does
Well,
it have to be Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving or Christmas. You can
Yeah.
go either way you
Well,
want.
Go ahead, Cardale.
I
You
was
take the lead.
going Halloween.
Oh, Halloween.
Oh.
Okay. The question was holidays.
Let's go Halloween because our coaches used to dress up and freaking all type of crazy stuff, and you walk in. I feel bad for that.
I'm trying to remember what I
feel
dressed
bad
up
for
as.
that. I feel bad for that group who had the 6 a.m. workout because the coaches are trying to have a haunted house type theme, walking down the freaking the hallway to get to the locker room, and
you got
Coach
scared
Parker.
one time.
I actually did. You got Coach Parker hiding in the bushes. And
Oh, that's
you got,
right. He had a clown face
Yeah,
on.
you got somebody with an axe. You still don't know who that guy was, dressing like they just all bloodied down. So actually, Halloween for me.
So mine will be, and Schlegel will remember this very fondly. And we used it as a kind of our calling card our senior year. Remember the Alamo. So we were fortunate enough, my career, to go to three BCS bowls,
That's real,
three
yeah.
Fiesta bowls. But sandwiched in there was a trip to San Antonio to the Alamo Bowl. Now it was Les Miles' last game before he went to LSU. We got to deliver him up a big fat L. So that was
Yeah, hold that.
fantastic. We had your guy from Cleveland Glenville playing quarterback. No, not Troy, Ted Ginn in that game because we had nobody else left. Troy was suspended that game. But it was the first time that we had played so close to Christmas that we didn't get to fly out on the 26th.
Yeah.
We had to fly out earlier, like on the 21st. And so the game's like the 28th. The coaches were like, oh, yeah, you know what, guys? We're going to give you the afternoon off at Christmas. I'm like, oh, what, to sit in the Marriott
Yeah,
by
that's right.
ourselves? Oh, we'll have this little buffet for you. Oh, it's just to hang out. Like, you guys have your families here. Our families are coming down for like another day or two because they don't want to sit here and hang out. But there was this bar down. If you walk out of the Marriott on the Riverwalk Tower, it's still there.
It's right to the right.
It's just to the right.
I remember it.
And we went there.
It was like an Irish
Mexican-
pub. It was like an Irish pub bar.
Because there's a Mexican margarita place that's right there, and then
No, this was not that
Okay.
place.
No. When you walk down to the bottom, right to the right, it was like Patty's. It was an Irish bar.
Okay.
It was an Irish bar. It was the only thing to do. We went there every single day. We went there on Christmas. And if you want to know what type of people go to a bar on Christmas on the Riverwalk,
Schlegs.
well, it was us. But the rest of the people there, oh goodness gracious, it was.
they didn't know what they were bargaining for. That
It really
night.
was. They didn't, and it was an eclectic group of people. We had some friends that had some very unique experiences, like at the bar and then afterwards with some clientele. But it was absolutely fantastic and highly entertaining. We practiced. Tress wanted to crank the heat up there because he's like, it's going to be hot down there. We're practicing. It's going to be hot in the Alamo Dome. And false. It was like today. We actually had a guy on the lift. One of our GAs or film dudes go down with hypothermia. They had to take the lift down and take him to the hospital because it was like 35-mile-an-hour winds and it was like rocking. thankfully didn't fall, but he fell on the lift and was unconscious. Had to bring him down, take him to the hospital. And so while that game may not be memorable in Ohio State lore, in a victory over Oklahoma State, in a random Alamo Bowl, wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a very entertaining trip, and I said, you know what? This hospitality room sucks. This was not very much fun. I want to go stay at the Scottsdale Princess. We're not going back here again.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, at all costs. At all costs.
Okay. Charge it to win it, man.
Charge it
Remember
to
the
winning.
Alamo.
So
I can't even top that one, Bob. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think all these guys will admit that when you're playing football at Ohio State, you don't have much time off. There's like maybe 4 weeks out of the year that you really have a break. And so the holiday time's always fun. I mean, every holiday, because we're all together, it's like we make the fun, right? I know July 4th we used to always have
Yo Soy Fiesta.
Yeah. Hey, we used to always have so much fun on July 4th, right? Because you're in the middle of summer
July
training.
4th?
Oh, no,
sure.
hey. Oh my God, we used to have we used to throw cookouts, pool parties, drink a lot of Coors Lights those days, right? Because we had to make our own fun, man. We'd go down the short north and do all that stuff. But I will say there's two great stories. Yeah,
There's two great stories.
There's two good ones. Halloween was always the best. My senior year, when Coach Mick and Coach Meyer came in, and the strength coaches were dressing up in Halloween costumes, it was phenomenal. They'd come out and scare you. And then the other thing is, normally Halloween, for some reason, we always had a home game, right? And so we always put on costumes and always went out, and we had some fun those nights. A lot of fun.
That sounds like a good story.
I'm not going to share it because we might get in trouble with some of those stories. That's why. But I'm going to go to the one that probably means the most, and it was Thanksgiving. Because when we were playing, Thanksgiving was always Michigan week, but more importantly, it was always senior tackle, right? And so it was always a morning practice. You go in, and there was no better feeling. You almost, the hair raises up on your arms thinking about it. Having Thanksgiving Day, waking up, getting in there early, having practice, knowing that, hey, you're one perfect Thursday away from playing your biggest rival and playing in the biggest rivalry in all sports. And going in there, having a practice, and then everyone coming down, and you go into the indoor, and all the bleachers are set up, and you got all the seniors that sit there, and you go through the whole thing, and it's emotional, man. I remember my senior, I was bawling my eyes out.
You're a sensitive guy.
I am a sensitive guy.
All the single ladies out there, he's super sensitive.
I am sensitive. And then the end of it, which I think is really cool, is then after all the seniors go through, the rest of the team goes to one end zone, and the seniors kind of make a last lap, and they go through, and everyone gives them a hug, and it's just kind of like, hey, now it's time to go take care of business. But Thanksgiving Day was always so much fun.
Yeah, I thought yours would be easy, Zach, because of how special your senior year was, the way that the calendar worked out.
Yep.
That Thursday before your last game. I mean,
that was
unfortunate that it was your last game. But at least it's a cool story.
Yeah, see, that part was a crazy thing, too. It was the last game we were ever going to play. So now that it was Thanksgiving, Senior Day, I mean, 2 days before Michigan, right? All this stuff's going into it. You look around, it's like, hey, guys, this is the last time we're ever practicing together. Like, this is our last ever practice. We got no Big Ten championship game. We've got nothing. And, make me cry.
I don't want to make you cry right
it,
now. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving is always special because of what we did. And, when you're a strength staff and you're a coach, what these guys go through. They're not with their families during the year. Their families are flying in. That's why we were so upset about the Indiana game and no parents. They're all flying in to go watch their kids. So during these type of holidays, the coaches would always dress up. And Thanksgiving, we're doing stuff. Halloween, we're doing stuff. Christmas, we dressed up as an elf, right? Kenny was the Santa, right? And,
that was great. I love seeing that.
And I dressed up like an elf, and we're sitting there, we're passing out, presents and stuff. And that's what you do because you love what you do, love where you do it, and love who you do it with, and that's why it's always so special and why we still have great relationships. Like I saw Braxton here. That's what you remember. You remember the national championship, you remember those type of games, but it's the experience that lead up to that you cherish, right? It's not about a ring or a gold pin or anything like that. It's about the people and the experiences that you have with them through that journey.
That's funny, and they even cut you off often.
No, go ahead.
About when you win a big game or you battle through a lot of adversity and things like that. And I get a lot of questions clearly about the 2014 season and how I kind of was fortunate enough to come on the scene. And it's always about how did I feel winning the national championship? What was going through my head and all that stuff. And as I reminisce and sit back, I just think about the journey getting there. I just think about the relationships I built with guys, with coaches. I mean, I freaking go hunting with you. I'm still Zach. I played with you 1 year, but me and you texting back and forth about doing inappropriate things. But still, it's just
some appropriate things too.
no, none appropriate. None actually.
Cardale owes me a trip, man.
Oh,
you know?
for sure. I'm getting my outfit ready for next year, by the way. But yeah, like Schlegel said, it's the journey. It honestly is. I mean, we can sit here and talk about games, but I can tell you how much fun I had leading up to them games.
Yeah.
So.
New Year's Day 2015 was pretty good for Cardale too. That was memorable. Ohio State won that game. They're going to be part of this.
I barely woke up for that game.
Well, you're telling me.
Buckeyes.
I woke up at halftime. It was like first quarter Michigan State. I had to peel myself up for the pregame show.
More memories. Those are holidays, and there's usually football tied to it, just like Ohio State in Illinois Thursday, 2 days after Thanksgiving. That'll be the last one we pick in the Silver Bullet Pick segment. Again, appreciate those questions on Twitter. The Buyer's Auto question for Cardale this week that all the guys answered. Let's get in to the Silver Bullet Pick segment, brought to you by Coors Light. Not a great week for any of us. But
No. Let's not talk about it. We're moving on.
I was 3-2.
3-2. Three-way tie.
3-2 is good.
Hey, matter of fact, I would have been 4-1 because I think we all would have been 4-1 because we all picked Purdue and they would have had it because it was 3 points.
Boy.
Not going to talk about the
They got
refs.
cheated.
We could
They
talk
did get
about
cheated.
The officiating is another show.
When is 3-2 good?
So,
But, hey,
good.
3-2
you know
is
what-
not good.
You know what it is?
It's
3-2 is buying you dinner. Better than 2 and
Hey,
3.
please.
Hey,
Hey,
you might be. You have
3-2 is good.
Hey,
Listen.
3-2 might get you the head coaching job at Michigan. It won't at Ohio State.
Yeah, but
That's a
2
good
and
point.
3.
But
you might have.
3 and 2 is going to get you tied for three-way first place.
Yeah, 2 and 3. You might have to be a finisher.
Just,
that's you.
just glad that 4 and
And
1
he
didn't happen, so
gladly
that we all had to
accepts
pay
that
up.
role.
4 and 1 was all it took for that pot that was building to just go to somebody. It'll carry over. And the first game that was on the schedule,
It's
Minnesota
gone.
and Wisconsin, that's gone. So
That's 3 for them.
they're going to be down. The maximum's 5. It's a good thing that they lost last week to Northwestern, so that we don't even have to worry about their tiebreaker in the West, because they're not going to be a factor. Rutgers at Purdue is going to slide in to replace that one.
Oh, that's the game the world wants.
So
Did they even make a line for that?
yes, they did.
Yeah, it's a
Purdue is
straight
a
line.
13-point favorite.
Wow.
It was.
Where is it?
We were talking about it last week. It's at Purdue. How great it was to see Rondale Moore back out there.
He had like 15 catches, didn't he?
It was
He had like
yeah.
104 yards.
It was unbelievable how they got screwed at the end of that game.
Oh.
It was also unreal that Rutgers had so many opportunities to put away the Wolverines and couldn't do it. I was enamored by that game.
And that's why I'm going with Purdue.
Okay. Couldn't close the deal, so
That's why I'm
Cardale's
going
jumping
with Purdue.
right in on Purdue. It's
Jumping off
13
the
over
Rutgers
Rutgers.
bandwagon.
That's a program-changing win. 13 points is a lot. But Purdue should have beat Minnesota. I mean, they did everything they should have
I
to
think
win the
we
game.
can all just
It
say
was-
that they did win that
Yeah,
game.
that was taken from them. You lose a game to Michigan, you lose a game to Ohio State like that, they're going to come out and play. I don't like that it's a big number, but I'll lay those points.
Oh, are we all Purdue so far? Or these
They got
two
a couple
Purdue so
Purdues
far?
down
I
there.
got Purdue.
Do you want just to go against the tide? I am going with Rutgers. What they showed in the second half against Ohio State, what they showed against playing Michigan, and let's be honest, Michigan still is a top program, right? What they were able to do, Schlegs, I'm not saying this year, I'm saying in general, they're a top program. Rutgers is changing. Greg Schiano is making a difference up there. He really is, and I think at some point they have to get that signature win that takes them over the top. I think it might be this weekend.
Okay.
Taking Rutgers.
Rondale Moore's back. Rutgers was up in that Michigan game, winning at
17 to nothing.
Yeah, that's a big-time deal. And then they switched quarterbacks, and they got complacent.
How about that perfect call that Rutgers had dialed up to start the second overtime?
Why didn't they call it in the
Why
first
didn't you just
one?
call it in the first one?
I don't know.
They
Crazy.
settled for that field goal.
It's ridiculous.
I just
It's
can't
stupid.
understand it.
Yeah, I can't. Rondale Moore's back. I like what they do on offense. I think that I don't even need to say any more. I'll go with Purdue.
I'm going to take Rutgers as 2. I'm going to go with Zach. I have to go. I had my gambling rules going into the year, but you just throw them out for 2020.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Rutgers plays so hard.
Good pick, Austin.
13 points is
That's
a lot.
a lot.
I think that's
13
what
is a lot.
I think
13 or 13 and a half?
It's scared. I've got 13 written down.
Okay,
It's
cool.
a lot. I don't feel good about that.
Yeah, so I
Good.
like that amount.
I like it.
Maryland at Indiana. Indiana, those Hoosiers, what are they, number 12 now?
Yep.
Yeah, number 12.
They're at home, 11.5-point favorites over Maryland, which has been underneath that turtle shell for the last couple weeks trying to recover.
Turtle power.
What do we got? Still believing in the Hoosiers after what they showed last week?
I got the Hoosiers.
I don't know if you saw Tom Allen after the game and like his little speech. It was all over social media. Like those dudes play hard for him. It was 35-7. They could have packed it in. They could have been over. They're going to come out. They're going to house Maryland.
Okay.
You think they house Maryland?
Yeah.
I don't think they house Maryland. I also think that whenever you bet, never pick the team the week after they play Ohio State. Just don't do it. They blew their load in the horseshoe. They're done. Indiana, they gave it all they had with that comeback. I don't think they have it in them. 11 is a lot
to finish one?
Yeah, it's 11. It's 11 points. I'm going Maryland. They haven't played in a couple weeks. The last game they played, they went to Penn State and absolutely throttled Penn State. Raheem Jarrett went off. Not Tua, but Tua's brother.
Little Tua.
Yeah, Little Tua found his stroke. We're going Maryland.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Indiana because I'm only taking them because we need them to look really good. Makes our win look better, and I think that Maryland they've hardly practiced, and they lock their dudes up in a hotel, so it's not like they've been practicing this entire time. Though they've had some weeks off, and they were rolling, and it takes leadership and focus and discipline to be able to be in a hotel and then come back and play at a high level, and you're playing Indiana at Indiana. I'm going to go with Indiana.
It takes a special player to be in a hotel locked up with dudes, number one. Number two, Mr. Tagovailoa, when you try to come back after not practicing at all, not only not playing in games, and then you see that blitz package that Indiana brings.
Bring in the house.
Dude, it's quick. That's going to happen fast.
Indiana had 5 sacks on Ohio State.
This is Ohio State now. They were able to do that too. Like it's going to happen quick. I don't care how much film you watch. Yeah. It's like trying to run across 315 with a blindfold. Like it's a whole nother level.
I can hear him coming.
That's tough. That's tough, boss.
Sounds like something me and Zach could do.
It's pretty wild how quickly the conversation has changed about Indiana. That we're like, look out for that Indiana blitz package. It's for real. And Michael Penix,
he's good.
I was pretty wrong about him. I knew he was good. He was much better.
Dude, I tried to tell you guys about Freifogel, man.
Yeah.
I
watched him as a
Schlegel still isn't listening. He needs to write it down on that folder.
I did. It says Freifogel.
I saw him as a sophomore. He looked like a dude then. I'm like, and this guy, he's muscled up. Contested ball catchers.
Yeah,
strong.
Part of the reason that I don't have any, I am impressed by Indiana more so than I expected to be, but I also don't know who's not going to be playing for Maryland because they still never changed the 20-day rule. So what if it's Raheem Jarrett and Lil Tua that are out?
It might be 30 days for them. Who knows?
Who knows how that's going to work out? So I'm going to take the Hoosiers. Here's another one. Northwestern's got to back it up. 13.5-point favorite at Michigan State. We know the Spartans are terrible.
Gosh, that's big.
But, man, Northwestern, they seems like they always have
They beat Wisconsin by 10.
Northwestern.
They did.
Cardale's just not messing
good
around
pick.
tonight.
Great pick. Great pick.
Those
Smart
are
Smart guys.
They are. They'll outthink their way there.
Reese Davis's.
Northwestern,
Yes.
Michigan State, the only game that they've won of significance is against Michigan. And outside of that, they have not looked good. They turn the ball over a lot. Northwestern won't turn the ball over. They'll be efficient. They're going to be locked in on defense. They'll have to earn everything. 14's a lot, but I could see them winning this game 21-3, and that would be enough.
Michigan State cannot score points. They have an atrocious offense, and what is Northwestern's strong suit? Their defense. Their defense is so good. You saw what they did against that Wisconsin offense when that Wisconsin offense was putting up monster numbers. Northwestern will win this game, and I agree with Bob. I'm not saying that they're going to blow them out. I just don't know if Michigan State scores a point, and I think Northwestern scores at least 14. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 14 or 17-0 game.
Yeah.
Tough not to pick a huge D. I'm with you.
Yep.
Northwestern. Great analysis, Bob.
That's just what Schlegel was going to say.
That was amazing.
Northwestern, I've got them too. Michigan State's awful. I don't know what they're doing at quarterback there. It's an absolute disaster.
Hey, they beat Michigan.
Well,
pretty handily.
That's right. And then they follow that up in
Lombardi.
I am interested how that Indiana.
I wonder
Michigan
if he's related
State
to Vince.
Come on, Lombardi. This is his grandkid.
Yeah, maybe.
Save
Just saying.
That's for your radio show.
That's for the morning juice.
Save that. Shtick
I'm gonna have him call in. Hey, are you by any chance related to Vince Lombardi?
He say no. You just hang right up. Okay, thank you.
And what was your Twitter handle again? Okay. How about this one? Vegas has no idea what to make because they're still awarding the 2.5 point for being the home team to Michigan, hosting Penn State.
They're 0-5.
Oh gosh.
Penn State get their first one this week, baby.
Penn State's got it, huh,
I
Cardale?
didn't even have to get it out. Cardale's
Penn
already
State's
jumped
got
out.
it.
For
Okay.
3-0.
They're due.
Who's the favorite?
Michigan is
Michigan is
favored by
2.5.
2.5 at home.
My goodness.
3-0.
I think if they would have lost last week, 100% taking Penn State because that would have crippled them. I don't know if a triple overtime win against Rutgers gives you the confidence you're looking for.
The gusto. Just go
But
get it, boys.
they did keep playing. They at least stopped them. Like after you miss a field goal, if you're going first on offense in overtime and your team misses a field goal defensively when you go out there, man, it is desperation.
Survival
the
mode.
fact that they at least held them to a field goal, which they ultimately missed, was amazing.
Bob, what you missed is they ran 2 centering plays. Like, what are you doing?
I know. Believe me, I understand. But they could have ripped one off. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm going to lay the points. Penn
Boy,
State.
Zach just talked
Penn
him right
State.
out of that. He's about
Penn
to make
State.
a big mistake.
Penn State. I wasn't going to take Michigan.
They literally,
but Penn State.
Rutgers is the worst plan in overtime. You ran a run play, got 2 yards, and then you ran 2 centering plays for your. Like, what are you doing?
kick it on third down.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible, right? They ended up losing 4 yards and
then score
whatever.
on the very
I
next
tell
play.
you what, who
So,
you picking?
So here's the thing.
Longest segments in America.
no,
Brought to you by Zach Boren.
No, I'm just
Your
going to say
local
one
trash
thing.
team.
Is that if Milton was a quarterback, I'd easily take Penn State. I think with Caden McNamara and what he brought in the second half against Rutgers, looked really good, brought them back from down 17-0. I just don't think Penn State can score whatsoever, so I'm taking Michigan.
I'm with you. Zach.
It was quick. That was quick.
I like McNamara.
Yeah.
I don't know what Penn State has. They're 0-5. Why not make it 0-6? I'll go with Michigan.
I don't know if Penn State's going to win a single game this year.
Really?
I hope Franklin gets fired.
He's not getting fired.
He's not getting fired. They just gave him an extension.
He's going to go to South Carolina is what's going to happen because he needs an
Yes, he
escape
will.
hatch.
Yep.
Who's out of South Carolina that's a rapper or somebody? Anybody? I don't know.
Oh, wow. Everybody look at me.
What?
Everybody look at me. Everybody look at
he
me
asked-
slowly. Zach did.
He asked me, the 40-year-old guy from Wyoming. I don't think I know who was the
We
South
know what you
Carolina
guys are
rapper
listening
for
to
you.
up there.
Yeah,
Country.
That's what we're
whatever.
bumping.
Yeah, right.
That's bumpy.
Get bumpy.
Yeah, you guys know my other gambling rule, and I'm also breaking it. I'm going to take Harbaugh to cover 2.5 this week, and I'm sure that I'll regret it on some point on Saturday. All right, the only one that matters, Ohio State, 28-point favorite at Illinois. I know what Cardale's pick is. I could stop talking and he would make it. What's the challenge of going there? What's interesting about this matchup for you guys?
Champagne.
Listen, let me tell you what the first thing they're going to do when they get up there. They're going to turn their clocks. They're going to go to their settings on their phone, and they're going to turn their clock
an hour back.
Yeah,
That's
no.
right.
They're going to take off the change time zone and make sure it stays on Eastern time zone. Appreciate it.
You remember that? That's what we always did. So every time we went on the road, we always made sure that it stayed Ohio State time.
Okay.
We never went down. We never played Illinois on Central time. You always played on Eastern time.
So you never went down on their time.
No.
Yeah.
No. We're just playing them at
Eastern.
11.
You're playing them at 11.
28 points is a lot, but after last week, I think that's the best thing that could have happened for this line is what happened to that offense. They're going to probably try to hang 70 on them and look good doing it.
And get 700 yards.
Well, especially
Cardale, you back with us or what's
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, well, especially last week, and then seeing number 4 up there, they know they need to make some statements. So I'm just tired of the Buckeyes. Every single game this year has been over 20 points of a spread. I mean, that's tough. That's tough betting.
I mean, but look at those guys on offense. What do you expect?
And I also
I
think
get it. I think they've only covered once this year.
And I haven't watched a ton of
They've only
Illinois.
covered one time.
So you say they're not a great team?
I haven't watched a ton of film on Illinois, but I do know that they like to run the football, and I don't think they're going to be.
They have a pair of 100-yard rushers last week, I
I think so. And so, but that's their game, right? Even though, and I remember just watching or reading probably from Lettermen Row a clip of Lovie Smith talking about, are you going to change what you do predicated upon what Indiana was able to do to Ohio State? Like, no, we're going to do our game plan, which is run the football. I don't think they're going to be able to run the football against our front seven. That being said, I think it is a blowout.
I believe, and Zach, I think they covered both against Nebraska and Penn State the last 2 weeks. They've not with
Did
Indiana.
they cover against Penn State?
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
it was 13.5. I remember. I don't remember much, but I remember that.
And again, that's what happens when you have these enormous spreads.
Yeah.
That's the only way to bring a lot of interest into Ohio State, Illinois. I mean, it might get more interesting if the wind blows. That's I was wondering if you guys would talk about those fun experiences of going into that stadium.
Oh,
in the wind tunnel,
Champaign,
but-
Illinois is the worst. You go into the locker room and it's all wood. It's like old school,
It
just
is. It's
1970 wood.
It smells
it's
of rich.
terrible.
It smells of rich mahogany.
No, it smells of old jock
They
straps.
redid
It's
all.
terrible.
They redid all of that when the Bears came down to play. When we went there in 2002, they had just redone all that because the Bears played there for a year when Soldier Field was being renovated. It was the only place we played that had a hot tub inside. And
Bob,
you'll be darn right if I got in there as a freshman
Yeah,
playing like
Bob,
25 plays in that game.
I literally felt like I was in a basement.
Of course.
And then you get outside, and it's literally a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
And at 11 a.m. in the morning, it's just miserable.
we played them at
Who
night.
was the quarterback your senior year from them?
Oh,
I remember when we
What
played
the-
that game. We did something, and,
Wasn't that
and
Shieldhouse?
guys were going absolutely.
no.
Guys were going
At Illinois?
Yeah.
That was my junior year. Senior year, I played at home because I was playing linebacker.
We did something where we messed up somebody's locker room on accident.
It was
Michigan
Illinois.
State. It was Michigan State.
Well, no, there was a
Michigan
couple
State.
of them.
I think it was Illinois when like we threw the thing.
Yeah,
up
that's
and
what it was.
Yeah, it
That's
was
what
Illinois.
it
when
was. I'm
freaking
telling
Ryan
you.
And Coach
So it might have
Mick-
been 13.
Yeah. It
Might have been 13.
was a little crazy.
Sorry, got a little bumpy in
I thought you
there.
were talking about the Michigan State story
No, the
when
Michigan- the Chalice.
Norwell went
absolutely
nuts.
nuts. Yeah, White Buffalo.
You remember that one?
Went crazy.
Sure. But no,
That's
Zach, you wasn't there, man. Purdue, playing at Purdue, and so 13, and Coach Mick took a guy named Cato Mitchell.
Oh, I know Cato
Oh,
Mitchell.
God.
From the beginning of their, because they didn't have a real locker room. It was just like a shed with chairs.
Yeah.
From the beginning of the shed to the back of the shed because we wasn't juiced up. And he grabbed this guy and just like, and we all was like, what just happened?
You gotta bring the juice, man.
You gotta bring
Ain't no
the juice.
juice vampires there on game day. Let me tell you something.
Cato made the ultimate sacrifice. Of
Hey,
being
I'll tell
clown
you-
for- being clown
to lay
for the
down,
rest of his life.
to lay down for your team, your
That's
friends.
it, man.
Hey,
Love and respect.
Hey, I tell you what, places like that, Purdue, Illinois, you got to bring your own juice.
Yeah,
you
by
have
beating
to.
up one of your by
It's terrible.
coach beating on one of your players.
Listen, you fly into Champaign, Illinois, you wonder why anyone goes there, why anyone ever commits there. The only reason why they were good is because of Ron Zook and his champagne rooms back in the day, because that's the only reason why anyone would go there.
I can't wait to go visit it. It's always exciting to make a trip over there for Ohio State at Illinois. Saturday at noon, Buckeyes are 28-point favorites. They are going to cover with ease. This has been Weekend Kickoff. Appreciate Cardale Jones, Bobby Carpenter, Zach Boren, and Anthony Schlegel, the normal crew, for hanging out. Brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. I am just Austin Ward. We will see you next week as Ohio State gets back at it, stays in college football playoff contention, and then gets ready for Michigan State. We'll see you then.